Hey, it is Carmen Chloe of redefiningwidowhood.com and carmenchloeglobal.com. I'm an author, certified life coach, and advocate for widowed moms. In this video, I'm going to be talking about why I changed my Facebook status from widowed to single. Why I changed my Facebook status from widowed to single. So this is going to be like a super chill video. I just felt the move to get this video going without putting on any makeup or getting in front of my background and all that stuff. As you can see, I have fractions and division and multiplication and planets in the back of me. I am a homeschool mom. I'm a mom. So I have been on the journey of just living life after the loss of my husband for the past 2 years. He passed away December. Well, my late husband. So many terms, so many identifiers. He passed away December 2018. So during that time, I immediately embraced the term widow. My very first Facebook post after everything happened was, I can't believe I'm a widow at the age of 38. So I embraced the term right away. I don't know if it's because I'm like a realist. Don't know. But as I went along this journey, I realized that there were other women who didn't embrace the term widow, didn't want you calling them a widow, were just disgusted by the term, didn't accept it, didn't receive it, because at the end of the day, none of us asked for this. None of us agreed to this. It was something that happened in our lives, and then this title was put upon us. I remember the first time I went to Grief Share, and the lady who was leading the Grief Share group, cute little, I'm not gonna say old lady because she's spunky, had a ton of life in her, but she had lost her husband like many years ago, and she was leading the group. And it just so happened that our Grief Share group was full of women who had lost their husbands. There were other people in there who had different types of loss, because with Grief Share they kind of group you all together, but the majority were women who had lost their husbands. So the lady who was leading the group, she was like, oh, because I had this brand used to be called Single Married Widow before Redefining Widowhood was formerly known as Single Married Widow. So I had t-shirts with the logo on it, and she was like, oh, look at your shirt. And she was like, oh, when I first became widowed, you couldn't call me that word. I didn't identify with it. So it shifted my perspective, oh, women don't really want to be called this. They don't want to hold on to this title. But I was just so bold and just so brass with it. I made t-shirts like Single Married Widow. That was my brand. And then I went on to make some other t-shirts. But as I was going along the journey and just really becoming a voice and an advocate for widowed moms, and I would interact with different women on this journey, I would learn that a lot of them didn't embrace the term. A lot of them didn't boast, not necessarily boast and brag, but a lot of them didn't say the term when describing themselves. And I remember one time I was having a coaching session with a coach, and I was brainstorming on how to build the brand that used to be known as Single Married Widow. And she said to me, she was like, widow it's not exactly a badge of honor. And when she said that, I wasn't offended, but I didn't necessarily agree. I understood where she was coming from, but after I got off the phone with her, I was brainstorming on ways that I could make the term widow not like a badge of shame, if you will. I understood where she was coming from. It's not a badge of honor, but in my mind, I'm like, it's not a badge of shame either. We're some warriors to be able to go through this journey and to be able to still raise kids, to still be able to be in our right mind, functioning, be able to smile and not have a bitter heart. I'm like, if you can go through this, you're a warrior. So that sparked my my apparel brand. But I was just thinking oh my God, I don't want any other widows to be walking around in shame or thinking they have to hold their head down low because they're a quote unquote widow. And it just took me on a journey of just the different terms and the different identifiers. So I'm 2 years in on this journey, as I said at the beginning of the video. And just recently, I've been spending more time with God, journaling, hearing the voice of God and journaling. And I tune into this broadcast where we ask God questions, we listen to his voice prophetically, and we write. So one of the topics was about grieving, like what we needed to grieve, what we needed to let go of. So that particular morning when we were having the journaling sessions, God began to speak to me about the term widow. He told me that I needed to basically come out of agreement with the term widow. And he told me that that's not a label or a identifier that he gave to me. The enemy gave that to me because my husband died prematurely. That was not the perfect will of God. Although God allowed it, he could have very well stopped it, but that's a whole nother spiritual conversation. So he basically told me, you hold on too tight to that term widow. Stop calling yourself a widow. That's not where you're going to be at forever. This is simply a season that you're passing through. And I understand that, and I correlate that to different prophetic words that I got shortly after my late husband passed away. So I totally understood where God was coming from. And then he went on to say that, basically the reason why I held on so tight to that title and why I was such an advocate for the title is because I'm literally called to help women who are going through this journey, who are having a difficult time with grieving, with healing, and with not being able to let go of that term and to lead to grow from out of the season of widowhood and begin to heal and begin to live again. I'm called to help those women learn how to do that. Like, I literally received a prophetic word about a year ago, maybe a little over a year ago, and they didn't know that I was a widow. And one of the prophets who was giving me the word, I got 2 words on that broadcast. He was like, you're called to help people who have gone through things and they're still wrapped in the pity of it. And he was like, I hear the word grief, and I know that the word grief is a heavy word. And that's when I was like, oh my God, like I'm a widow. I'm in a season of widowhood. And he was like, okay, like that's what I'm hearing. So just receiving that word, knowing that I'm so passionate about being an advocate, a voice, and an educator for women on this journey. That's why I held so tightly to the word, and I said the word so boldly, like, no, I'm not a single mom, I'm a widowed mom. No, I'm not single, I'm widowed. But by instruction of the Lord, I have come out of agreement with that word, and I decided that day, I was like, okay, God, what do I need to do as an act of faith or as a prophetic act to show you that I'm being obedient to what you told me? Change my Facebook status from widow to single. Everything in my social media bios that referred to myself as a widowed mom, I took them out. I'm like, okay, I'm not a single mom, I'm not a widowed mom, I'm a mom at the end of the day. And I can totally relate to that because I have a good sister friend, and I have invited her to a group that I started not too long ago. And I think the term for the group was like wealthy solo moms or something like that. And she was like, hey, I don't really identify with that term. And she was like, I hope you understand. And I was like, I totally understand. And that shifted my perspective even more about the different titles and the labels that we give ourselves. And when we call ourselves certain things, we come into agreement with them. Granted that in the beginning stages of this journey, I was for sure a widow. I was in a season of widowhood. That's just where I was at. However, as time has progressed and I'm a little over 2 years out, I can discern that the seasons have changed. However, my heart is still for widowed women, widowed moms who are in that season, who are trying to figure it out, who know that one day they want to learn how to grieve in a healthy way. They want to learn how to heal, and they want to learn how to live again. So just being able to have that experience and then growing to this point and being able to reflect back between the 2 stages or seasons. So that's basically why I changed my Facebook status from widow to single, because I am moving into a different season now. And of course it feels uncertain. And of course I'm like, okay, God, like I'm not widowed, or I'm not a widow. You don't want me to use that word anymore. I'm technically single, although I'm not available because I'm in no way, shape, or form ready to like date anybody. And to be honest, like I'm enjoying this season of rediscovering my identity and this season of peace. Like I'm not in a rush to like date anybody or get back out there. If that's what you're doing, more power to you. I just, who I am. I'm a very peculiar person. I don't like to be bothered. I like my space, which was a great thing about my late husband and I's relationship. Like, he was the same way. Like, we were kind of like a perfect match in terms of giving each other space and then being close when we wanted to be close. So I'm like, okay, God, like, this next one, this chapter 2, as they call it, is gonna have to be like ordained by you, perfect. But yeah, I'm enjoying my season of rediscovering who I am, my season of peace, and my season of freedom. So I just wanted to share this message. I just wanted to encourage you. If you are on this journey you just began and you're trying to figure out life, just know that things will, I'm not going to say they'll get better, although they've gotten better for me from where I was at in the beginning, but things will be different. They will change. You'll be able to heal and live again if that's something that you're open up to. I always say none of us chose for our late husbands to pass away. None of us chose this. However, we do have to make a conscious decision and a choice to grieve in a healthy way, to heal, and to also live again if we have the courage to do so. So again, I am Carmen Chloe of redefiningwidowhood.com. Make sure you like this video, subscribe to my channel, and join my email list. I'm going to be launching a digital course and group coaching program very, very soon in Q2. So if that's something that you're interested in, if you know that you want to eventually grieve, heal, but then also live again, and you just need a blueprint and some steps and some structure to do so, definitely get connected to my email list so you can receive the updates on that, and also so that you can receive weekly mentoring drop directly into your email inbox. So I pray this blesses you. I'll see you all on the next video. Peace.